For more than 2 millennia, the Terracotta Army has silently protected China's first emperor. Yet in early 2025, a startling discovery revealed that these life-sized warriors may hide a much darker secret. What if everything we thought we knew about their purpose is just the beginning? So what is the truth behind the Terracotta Army? Let's explore. In late March 1974, on the Hot Loess Plateau near Xiang village, farmers led by 41-year-old Yang Jifa dug desperately for water as their wells ran dry and crops failed. After digging 5 meters without success, Yang's shovel hit pottery shards, roof tiles, and a bronze arrowhead with green patina. They joked about disturbing an ancient grave but kept digging. Then Yang's brother uncovered a life-sized, lifelike clay head with a stern expression and top knot. It looked like a real person frozen in clay, staring back at them. As they dug further, they found more pieces, a torso and a stone hand holding a weapon. The discovery was massive and unlike anything they'd seen. The next day, curator Zhao Kangmin from Linyi County Museum arrived by bicycle. Seeing the detailed armor, he recognized these as warriors from the Yuan dynasty, over 2,000 years old. Despite the risks during the Cultural Revolution, Zhao contacted the Shaanxi Provincial Archaeology Team. By early May, the site had become the archaeological find of the century, transforming a desperate search for water into a historic discovery. Has this story made you curious about other hidden secrets waiting to be found? What do you hope archaeologists discover next? Comment and chat with me. The trench, called Pit 1, held rows of nearly 6,000 clay soldiers in perfect formation. Their detailed armor, neat hair, and horses with old chariot traces showed a real army frozen in time. Villagers watched as conservators carefully wrapped shattered limbs like battlefield medics. Each warrior was unique, with different expressions, hairstyles, and postures. Though most paint faded, red and black traces remained on armor, proving the soldiers once stood in full color. The discovery changed Xiang overnight. Farmers received about $50, and Yang Jifa later signed souvenirs at the museum built over the site in 1979. The village road was paved, and tourists replaced ox carts. For archaeologists, this was just the start. The find revealed Huang's lost mausoleum, but many secrets stayed buried for another 50 years. If you think this video deserves to be seen by more people, please click the hype button below. Each hype will help this video get recommended more often. Huang, born in 259 BCE, grew up in a divided China of warring states. He became king of Yuan at 13, a kingdom known for its strong military and harsh laws. Over 20 years he conquered rival states and, in 221 BCE, united all of China under his rule, becoming the first emperor. He didn't just seek power but aimed to unify the empire. He standardized coins, weights, measures, and writing systems. He linked walls to form the Great Wall of China and built extensive roads marked with his seal. However, his rule was harsh. Following legalism, he demanded complete obedience and punished disobedience with extreme cruelty, a darker side only fully understood by historians today. Opposition developed quietly behind the scenes, and attempts to harm the future emperor became more common. The most notable took place in 227 BCE, when a man named Jing Qi, disguised as an envoy, tried to attack the future emperor during a court meeting. Although unsuccessful, the event deeply unsettled Huang. His concern for personal safety intensified, along with his fear of passing away. Ancient records describe him taking mercury-based potions and powdered jade, hoping they would grant him everlasting life. He sent ships across the Eastern Sea in search of mystical herbs believed to offer longevity. His most determined envoy, a court magician named Xu Fu, led 2 large expeditions between 219 and 210 BCE. 60 ships carried 3,000 boys and 3,000 girls, all pledged to return with the legendary herb of eternal life. However, none of them were ever reported to have come back. When it became evident that eternal life was unattainable, Huang devised another plan. If he couldn't live forever in this world, he intended to reign forever in the next. He began constructing a grand mausoleum near what is now Xi'an, a tomb reportedly the size of a city. At its center, he placed an entire army made of clay, archers, cavalry, generals, chariots, and attendants. Each statue was nearly life-sized and uniquely detailed. In 2024, scientists used three-dimensional scanning to study the warriors' faces, confirming what many had long suspected: no two faces are alike. The artisans did not create anonymous figures. They captured real facial structures, wrinkles, and hairstyles. Yet, discoveries made by archaeologists in 2025 suggest something far more unexpected than anyone had imagined. Huang's intentions go beyond just an army of statues. The evidence now challenges our understanding of ancient Chinese burial customs. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss any future episodes. Don't forget to share this video with your friends. It helps support the channel, and I'm excited to continue bringing you more great content. Huang passed away in 210 BCE while traveling through his empire, still in pursuit of legends about life-enhancing remedies. His reign lasted only 11 years, but the systems he established endured for centuries. One script, one currency, one law, one empire. Even the name China can be traced back to his dynasty Qin. Although he never succeeded in escaping mortality, in a sense he achieved his goal. The empire he forged transformed history, and the silent army he left behind still stands today, holding secrets that have remained hidden for over 2,000 years. This is the Terracotta Army, 8,000 warriors laid to rest more than 2,000 years ago, considered one of the world's greatest marvels. However, as we will explore, the 2025 discovery indicates that what has long been admired as a remarkable artistic achievement might actually point to something far more unsettling. Just outside Xi'an, beneath a gently sloping grassy hill rising 76 meters high, lies one of the most intriguing places on Earth. For over 2,000 years, this quiet mound has concealed what the ancient historian Sima Qian described as an underground palace. Modern remote sensing technology has confirmed that this description is far from exaggerated. Below the surface is a vast chamber measuring 460 meters from north to south and 390 meters wide, surrounded by deep earth walls and gradual passageways once used by workers and later by the funeral procession that transported the emperor's remains inside. The entire design mirrors the capital city of Xi'an, but reversed and buried, a timeless city intended to endure beyond the living one. Historical records indicate that over 700,000 people, including captives, artisans, and guards, spent nearly 40 years creating this hidden kingdom. However, what they constructed there may be far more unsettling than anyone had anticipated. They crafted grand halls and watchtowers, creating entire living quarters fit for a ruler who intended to continue his influence long after passing. Pearls were embedded into the ceilings to shimmer like stars, while the ground was shaped into ridges and valleys, reflecting the landscape of the empire he once governed. Instead of water, channels were filled with flowing streams of liquid mercury, chosen for its association with eternal life. According to later writings, mechanical pumps kept these mercury streams circulating in a continuous, carefully maintained cycle. For centuries, such stories seemed too fantastical to accept. However, recent tests have shifted that view. Soil samples around the tomb reveal mercury levels hundreds of times above normal, supporting the possibility that these mercury streams were indeed real. In 2020, a LiDAR survey detected vapor rising from the mound, consistent with earlier underground findings. What was once regarded as poetic legend now appears unsettlingly factual. The concerns extended beyond Mercury as well. Ancient texts describe sophisticated protective measures, crossbows set to activate if stones are disturbed, concealed pits designed to deter intruders, and chemical deterrents meant to discourage grave robbers. Modern archaeologists approach these accounts with caution. But what is truly unsettling is that the 2025 discovery suggests these protections were not simply to guard treasures. They may have been intended to contain something far more troubling. To this day, no one has entered the actual burial chamber. All investigations have remained on the surface or used non-intrusive methods, As the risks involve more than just historical preservation, they also concern human safety. At the heart of this underground complex, descriptions speak of a bronze coffin resting on a bed of gemstones, surrounded by golden statues, jade artifacts, and official records inscribed on bamboo slips. Some accounts suggest that childless attendants and devoted officials were interred alongside him to continue their service in the afterlife. Whether these details are accurate remains uncertain because the burial chamber has never been opened. Inside the tomb, fragile treasures such as wooden furniture, painted silk, and lacquered screens may still be well preserved precisely because they have been sealed away from air and light for thousands of years. The moment fresh air enters, oxygen and humidity could rapidly damage these ancient materials. Scientists acknowledge that they currently lack the means to protect a chamber of this size from swift deterioration once it is accessed. Therefore, for now, they exercise patience. But waiting does not mean inactivity. Chinese physicists have been developing muon radiography systems, a technology that uses cosmic rays to scan large underground spaces without drilling. Their simulations indicate that by placing a telescope near the mound, researchers could map the entire burial chamber within 2 months, identifying walls, empty spaces, and even metal objects without disturbing a single stone. Engineers are also testing ultra-thin fiber optic robots, machines small enough to slip through natural cracks in the soil, collect air samples, and capture images without moving even a pebble. Meanwhile, discoveries around the mound continue to reveal the vast scope of the project. Ground-penetrating radar has uncovered roads, stables, pits containing bronze chariots and traces of work sites extending over several kilometers. In a recent excavation, archaeologists uncovered a 16-ton coffin believed to belong to Prince Gao, the emperor's son. It was surrounded by gold and silver camel statues, objects previously unseen in Qin dynasty tombs. Finds like these show this was more than just a tomb. It was an entire underground city of the departed, with each area revealing more than anyone anticipated. Meanwhile, the Terracotta Army stands silently on guard about 1.5 kilometers east of the mound. They are not merely symbols, but the emperor's outer protectors, still watching over their ruler beyond life. Every day, visitors pass by them, filled with admiration. Yet the most significant part, the burial chamber itself, remains undisturbed. That changed dramatically in January 2025, when archaeologists made a discovery so unsettling that it has been withheld from the public for nearly a year. I want to challenge the whole community. If this video reaches 100 hypes today, I will make a part 2 with more shocking stories. Do you want to push this video to trending together? Click hype now. Just when experts thought they'd seen it all, the ground revealed something no one was ready for. A discovery so disturbing that several archaeologists have refused to speak publicly about it, and others have demanded that the site be sealed permanently. In January 2025, Dr. Mei Lin and her team returned to the southern edge of Pit 1, expecting nothing more than routine work. After over 15 years of careful excavation, they had grown used to uncovering foot soldiers, archers, and the occasional chariot. Fascinating, yes, but not unexpected. So when a young archaeologist named Jian Shu tapped his trowel against a strange shard and caught a faint shimmer of red and blue beneath the dust, nobody paid much attention. But then the fragment caught the light again. That oily glint wasn't from plain terracotta. It was something else, something that would change everything. A pigment that is vivid only survives if it's sealed off almost immediately after firing. The team froze, widened the trench, and uncovered a statue that hadn't seen sunlight in over 2,000 years. But what they found wasn't just another warrior. It was evidence of something so horrifying that it's been classified by the Chinese government. What rose from the earth was a general, life-sized, heavily armored, and carved with stunning precision. He wore a dragon-covered breastplate, the scales twisting across his chest in patterns historians associate with elite battlefield commanders. His armor was still dusted with powdered azurite and cinnabar, deep blue and blood-red minerals used only for high-ranking figures. This was just the 11th general confirmed since the Terracotta Army was discovered in 1974, and it was the first one found in Pit 1. The others had been uncovered in Pits 2 and 3, where command units and cavalry were stationed. This changed everything about how archaeologists understood the army's structure. Every detail was different from the infantry statues around him. His boots were thicker and marked with cloud symbols, visual shorthand for power in Qian art. His crown was tall and flared, ringed with molded feathers, and still held tiny flecks of malachite green. But it wasn't the general himself that shocked the archaeological community. It was what they found inside him. A handheld Raman scanner confirmed the presence of multicolor lacquer reserved only for officers. Regular soldiers were painted in standard red. This was someone who stood out for a reason. But when they used ground-penetrating radar to examine the statue's internal structure, they discovered something that defied explanation. The statue wasn't solid clay. There were hollow spaces inside, spaces that seemed to follow the pattern of human anatomy, spaces where organs should be. As the team captured every detail using photogrammetry, a mobile scanner from Tsinghua University generated a point cloud model with accuracy down to 1/10 of a millimeter. What emerged from the data was unexpectedly unsettling. The general's face showed one eyebrow slightly higher than the other, and one cheek a bit fuller. These were not mere artistic choices but natural human features that supported a theory published in Nature in 2022, taken to a startling new level. The Qian artisans had not only used real people as models for the high-ranking figures. The evidence now suggests they may have incorporated real human elements into the statues themselves. Hyperspectral scans revealed 6 distinct mineral paints on the armor, including rare Han blue mixed with lead white to create shadow effects. Even more remarkable were the organic compounds detected beneath the clay surface, substances unlikely to be found in a purely ceramic sculpture. Carbon dating showed these organic materials dated back to the time when the statue was created, around 210 BCE. The most surprising discovery came from analyzing calcium phosphate deposits within the statue's interior structure. These deposits corresponded closely to the mineral composition of human bone. Subscribe now to join us on more journeys into the hidden secrets of the past. The context mattered too. The general stood just 15 meters from a trench where archaeologists had found a cache of bronze crossbow triggers in 2023. Each piece was marked with batch codes and Qian numerals, implying centralized weapon factories and sophisticated logistics. But putting a general this close to an arsenal wasn't random. It suggested that Pit 1 wasn't just a gathering of figures. It was a structured military formation with its own command chain. A command chain that may have been built using methods too horrifying to fully comprehend. For Dr. Wei Zhang, who has worked on the site since 1989, the discovery meant something deeper and more disturbing than anyone wanted to admit. The dragon pattern on the general's breastplate matched designs seen on bronze drums from Lingnan, confirming the empire's cultural reach. But the internal structure suggested something far more sinister. When pressed for comment, Dr. Zhang would only say that they had always seen an army. Now they were beginning to understand what kind of army it really was. The news spread fast, but not in the way you might expect. Within 48 hours, Chinese authorities had imposed a complete media blackout on the discovery. The planned live stream that was supposed to showcase the general to 8 million viewers was abruptly canceled. Museums across the world that had requested digital scans were told the files were no longer available. The statue itself was immediately moved to a secure facility, not for preservation but for what officials called further analysis. But leaked documents obtained by investigative journalists paint a very different picture. The Chinese government wasn't just studying the general. They were desperately trying to understand the full scope of what they had uncovered. According to these leaked reports, ground-penetrating radar surveys of the entire Terracotta Army complex revealed that nearly 30% of the statues show similar internal anomalies, hollow spaces where organs should be, calcium phosphate deposits consistent with human remains, organic compounds that have no business being in clay sculptures. For Dr. Min, who grew up in Xi and hearing stories that each warrior had a soul, the discovery was both vindication and horror. She had always believed there was something special about these statues. Now she understood why. In her leaked statement to international media, she said they had been digging with their hands, but also with their hearts. This man had stood silent for more than 2,000 years. Today he speaks, and what he's telling us is terrifying. The excavation season was immediately suspended. The site, which normally employs hundreds of archaeologists and attracts millions of tourists, was quietly restricted. Controversial explanations cited preservation concerns and structural instability, but insiders tell a different story. What began as a quiet excavation in a field has grown into a global controversy. To understand the significance of this discovery, it helps to look at how the Terracotta Army captured the world's attention in the first place. When the first warriors were uncovered in 1974, China revealed more than just an ancient site. It uncovered a powerful reflection of its own heritage. Almost overnight, the silent army became a national symbol. School textbooks were updated, television dramas soared in popularity, and visits to Xi'an became a kind of national pilgrimage. By the time the museum opened in 1979, millions were already captivated. Since then, over 150 million people have visited, an average of 5 million annually. In 1987, UNESCO recognized the mausoleum complex as a World Heritage Site, celebrating its unique blend of art, history, and engineering. However, the 2025 discovery challenges everything previously believed about this wonder of the world. If the evidence holds, and these statues do indeed contain human elements, then what we have may not be just the world's greatest artistic achievement, but rather the largest historical memorial, subtly disguised as art. A 2018 exhibition in the UK brought an estimated $78 million to the local economy. This year, a 2-month show in Western Australia was expected to generate $37 million in tourism revenue. Yet all of these events have been quietly postponed as authorities consider the broader implications of the archaeologists' findings. The impact extends far beyond museums. Artists worldwide who drew inspiration from those solemn clay faces are now re-examining whether they were honoring art or marking something far more complex. Historians are also revisiting not only the origins of large-scale portraiture but questioning if what we've long called portraiture might represent something more unsettling. Modern laboratories in Beijing, Berlin, and Sao Paulo that once collaborated on conservation techniques have fallen silent. The open exchange of scanned data and pigment samples, symbols of international cooperation in preserving ancient art, that has been replaced by classified research and government confidentiality. In 2024, 2 statues were accidentally damaged by a careless visitor, prompting discussions about protection. Since then, stricter measures have been introduced: new buffer zones, more controlled ticketing, and enhanced security. These steps now appear less about preserving art and more about managing access to sensitive information. Other heavily visited heritage sites, from Pompeii to Machu Picchu, have been monitoring these protective measures closely. Now they are left wondering what hidden stories might lie beneath their own landmarks. What makes this discovery unsettling is not just the history or the technology involved, but the possibility that what has long been celebrated as one of humanity's greatest artistic achievements could also represent a deeply troubling chapter. When gazing into the face of one soldier long enough, you begin to wonder who he was, what he experienced, and why he was chosen to stand watch through the ages. Now, the answer may be far more unsettling than anyone could have imagined. He might not have been chosen at all. If you made it this far, you really care. Don't just hype it. It only takes a few seconds, but it will help this video go that much further. The Terracotta Army has stood for over 2,000 years as silent guardians of China's first emperor. The 2025 discovery suggests they may not be just statues but monuments to a disturbing burial practice. The Chinese government limits access to researchers, and the site is partly closed to the public. Much remains unknown, but what we believed about the army, ancient burial customs, and the emperor's quest for eternal rule has changed forever. The warriors still stand in formation, possibly guarding not only the tomb but the evidence of a great secret. Thanks for watching. See you in our next video. Thanks for being with us. Leave a comment, like to show your support, and remember to hit that subscribe button for more exciting videos. See you next time.